Good morning, everybody.
Morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Is my voice audible? Good morning, everybody. Is my voice audible?
Good morning, sir. Yes, sir.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, we are expecting more people to join. So we'll give a couple of minutes, and then at about 3 minutes past 12, we will start. Okay. Until then, kindly mute yourself for the convenience of others. We'll start at 12:03. Yeah, good morning, everybody, and a warm welcome to all the engineers who are the professional engineers. You are here today, and we are very happy to be discussing few things of mutual interest, and basically, majorly the interest of the fraternity itself. And I'll basically ask everyone to introduce themselves. So can we begin with Mr. Bhavin Chaudhary? Mr. Bhavin Chaudhary,
Yeah, good morning, sir.
you can
Am I audible?
you unmute yourself and put your video on.
Am I visible, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
good,
you are visible.
good morning.
Introduce
And
yourself.
good morning to my fellow engineers and seniors. I am an apprentice engineer Bhavin Chaudhary in mechanical engineering, and I am working as a project engineer in
Which company are you working for?
It's a sewage treatment plant project company, Greenleaf Envirotech Private Limited.
Bhavin, which company are you working for?
Greenleaf Envirotech Private Limited. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Bhavin, your voice is getting stuck. Yeah.
Now is it audible, sir?
Yes, Bhavin. Which company are you working for?
Greenleaf Envirotech Private Limited, doing STP sewage treatment plant projects.
Very good. And I believe you are a Bhavin, you can use your device audio rather than using the earphone. Okay, Bhavin?
Okay, sir.
I will proceed further. And can we have Dr. Harish Kumar Gupta? Dr. Gupta, please. Dr. Harish Gupta, please. Okay, I proceed further. Mr. Ghanshyam Mishra, unmute yourself.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, Mr. Mishra.
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Mishra.
Yeah, am I audible to everybody?
Yeah, your voice is coming a little garbled.
Yes,
but-
good morning, everyone. I am Ghanshyam Mishra. I am from Goa. I am a civil engineer and I have over. Yeah, maybe I am not in a good range.
Okay. All right.
Some range issues. I am a civil engineer and I have over 24
You can switch
years
off.
of experience.
You can switch off your video.
And
That will give you better
currently,
signal.
I have my own company, project management company, and also I run up with Navanath Vidikar on this forum
Okay. Welcome, Navneet Varnekar.
as of now.
Yeah. And can we hear Dr. Harish Kumar Gupta
Hello.
now?
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Dr. Gupta, please. Dr. Gupta, please.
Yes, sir. Myself, Dr. Harish Kumar Gupta, LN Malvi Infrastructure, Bhopal.
Okay. Yeah. I proceed further. Sardar Sheikh.
Good afternoon to all. I am Sardar here. I'm working as a DGM projects in Acme Cleantech Solutions. It's a solar company.
Good. I'll go to the next one. Mr. Ramesh Reddy.
Good afternoon, all. This is Ramesh Reddy, Senior Manager Safety from Aparna Constructions, working in Aparna Constructions.
Good. So we go to Mr. Salman Khan. Mr. Salman Khan.
मेरा नाम बोल रहे हैं. Just wait, sir. Actually, I am connecting with the.
Okay, I proceed further. Sheshe Raima. Sheshe Raima. Okay.
I have some problem in the.
Okay, no problem. Mute yourself and correct it, and then we will talk. Okay, Mr. Somendra Majumdar. Mr. Somendra Majumdar.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Majumdar.
Yes, I am a retired professor from Delhi College of Engineering. Earlier, it was Delhi. Now it is called Delhi Technology University.
Mr. Majumdar.
Hello.
No professor ever retired. Mr. Majumdar, no professor ever retires.
Yes,
You have a great responsibility of preparing the younger lot. You have a great responsibility. And as a very senior engineer, I think we will be looking forward to have your guidance. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. We go to Mr. T.S. Nayak.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Nayak, please come.
Morning to all. Myself, T.S. Naik from LN Malvi Infra Projects, Bhopal, working in the bridge design section.
Good. The next one is Mr. Vishal Tiwari.
Okay, thank you, sir, for adding me and this STEAM panel. First of all, myself Bisal Tiwari. I'm working as a AGM project in a company called RSPL. It's a famous ghadi detergent group. We have several other products like Red Chief, Namaste India products and all. I'm working here as a HOD civil, and rest I think we can discuss it further, sir.
Good, very good. Anybody left there? You can come now, or whoever was finding it difficult to get connected can also come in and speak.
Yeah, hi sir. Salman this side.
Yes, Salman.
Yes. Currently, sir, I am working as a manager civil. It is a 1200 megawatt solar power project going on a single location, which is located in Pokhran, Rajasthan.
Good.
It is
Very
under
good.
construction. It will take some time to complete. Yes,
Very good. Okay. So I think if everybody is on the board, then we can begin with the kind of address and the suggestions that I wanted to make, and then seek your opinions and views. All right. I think everybody, whoever has to speak, they have already spoken and introduced themselves. And once again, very warm welcome to you. Now, many of you are executing the projects, and that is where the real test of a professional engineer is conducted. You know, you can always get some theoretical knowledge, you can get the degrees and diplomas, and as Professor Majumdar, who's actually amongst us, he will further endorse that merely getting the degrees and diplomas is not going to take you very far in professional life for that matter. So what exactly are the kind of ingredients that we should all think about? And how exactly can we, at the end of the day, when we say that, yes, I am going to hang my boots, I can proudly say that I worked as a professional engineer. You see, we are very fortunate as professional engineers because others are not in a position to leave behind the landmarks. Now, this is my 69th year of life, and with great satisfaction, I can say that there are a number of landmarks that I will be leaving behind when I go away from this world. And they have been done properly, they have been done nicely, and that is what makes me feel that I have followed all the ethos of being a professional engineer, and I would be very certain that all of you are going to follow the same track. And that is something that we need to do. So there are few things that I have to give you an advice on. And the reason why we are organizing these interactive meets is that Engineering Council of India will not merely register and forget. They will basically be trying to excite you to keep on improving the kind of professional knowledge that you have there and enable you to make sure that those who are around you are also in a position to improve their professionalism, and they in true sense can become part of an active team, and it is that team that is going to achieve that. Now, you have already taken the first step of enrolling yourself as a professional engineer. The second role of a professional engineer who is also a professional manager is to make sure that the people and the team members who are working around him and supporting him or her, they should also be thinking like professionals, and this starts even from the workers. So you have to make sure that your workers and supervisors, they are also trained, tested for their skills. And there are many modules that you actually implement the similar kind of initiatives on your project sites itself. And may they be related to electrical engineering or mechanical engineering or civil engineering or chemical engineering. The fact of the matter is that we need to have the professionals working towards the completion of the project that we have there. And that is your role that you will have to play. That is the first thing that you need to do. The second issue is that you all need to basically keep on studying and understanding the latest developments that are taking place anywhere else in the world. And that is the reason why, as a part of your being called as a professional engineer, there are going to be series of continuous professional development programs, and that will enable you to learn and understand many of the things. Case of many of the may be very good in engineering, but when it comes to the kind of legal matters, the procurement matters, the financing and funding, they lack quite a lot. And those are the kind of things that we have to study. Many of us, we are not familiar with the environmental issues. We are also not in a position to really understand and implement many of the project management related issues and things like that. The human resource management is another thing which is extremely important. So this is the second message that I have to give you, that you have to keep enhancing your knowledge. And for that matter, ECI, together with Construction Industry Development Council, is basically running many of the knowledge series programs, and they are all hosted on CIDC's YouTube channel. So my colleagues will send you the link of the CIDC YouTube channel. You can visit this channel and you can see there are a number of educational videos that have been hosted there. Whenever you have time, kindly go through that. The third thing that I have to basically advise you is that please do not think that an engineer is a civil engineer only, or mechanical engineer only, or electrical engineer, or any specific branch engineer. An engineer is an engineer, and in order to give a solution, which has to be absolutely the kind of integrated solution, we need to have a situation where we have to have understanding and ingress in almost all branches of engineering. After all, the basics of technology, physics, mechanics, and engineering has all been taught to you. So there is no reason for you to basically use the first principles, your common sense, your added education, and then you are in a position to arrive at the most efficient kind of solution. So please look at engineering as engineering. This is the next thing that I had to tell you. Let me go a bit further. And that is actually the deliberation. The engineering or any other profession that you have is basically something where the knowledge has to flow from anywhere in the world. We are a boundaryless world, and there are many things that are being done in geographical regions which are other than our own country. But then when it comes to engineering knowledge, I think this doesn't know any boundaries. It travels from anywhere to anywhere, and that is the kind of attitude that we should have. We should be willing to accept and explore any frontier. Another thing that I have to tell you is that please remember that this is the age for us Indians. Every fifth or sixth person on this planet is of Indian origin. We are also demographically a very young country. And this basically opens up endless opportunities for us, not only to earn our livelihood, but also to enhance our professional knowledge and also to provide the support to the entire globe. So therefore, you have to start thinking like a global citizen. And that is something because where we do not have any boundaries, you are working in India, you could go and work in Brazil, you can work in the United States, and you can work in many. We have to deliberate, we have to discuss, and we have to come out with the kind of problems. In case of medical practitioners or any other professionals that you have there, whether they are lawyers, whether they are nursing experts or whoever it is, and even the scientists for that matter, they confer with each other, they talk about it, they discuss about the kind of problems that they face on their project. And through the collective wisdom, and the kind of discussions that we have there are solutions which come back to you. And these solutions, when implemented, become a landmark. The next thing that I have to tell you, which we as professionals have to do, and that is habit of archiving. When I say archiving, what do I mean to say? There are excellent engineers in past time, and there will be, sure, each one of you would have done something wonderful and novel. This has to be archived. This has to be reported. Let me tell you, when engineering was being formally taught in this country, in our country, there were 3 engineering institutions that were started. The oldest was the College of Engineering in Gindi. This is in Chennai or Madras, as they used to call it. The second one was the College of Engineering in Shibpur, that was in West Bengal and close to Calcutta. And the third came as Thompson College of Engineering in Roorkee. And you know, the tradition was that all the graduates, they have to go and serve in the field or serve on the projects, and then they will have to come once in a year and exchange the kind of notes and talk about what exactly they did during last 1 year to their younger lot. That is how the tradition was built. That is how the family and the kind of group of professionals they started developing. So sharing your experiences, archiving them, this turned out into many of the treatises that were made. And you may not be surprised to know that the engineering, the irrigation engineering, was something that was actually evolved and developed right in this country by many of the engineers and scientists of Roorkee University. And that is something that makes us proud. So we would like that all of you should cultivate those kind of habits. Now, I have given you piece of advice. Now I would like to hear from you. And we are starting this particular discussion and dialogue from now itself, that in whatever professional activities that you are in, I would like you to come out with the kind of difficulties, the problems that you are facing. And I think during these deliberations and discussion, going to set you on the path of improvement in your professional attitude. So let us begin. And I think I would now need people to volunteer themselves. And the reason why I got all of you to come and speak out your name and introduce yourself to others was to kind of break that jinx. I have seen these deliberations where people remain silent. Now, this is not a forum on which I would like you to remain silent. Please come out with your problems. Please come out with the kind of issues on which you need satisfaction. And we would like to listen to you and seek some solutions for that. And I'm very sure that we'll have a very timely session today. So I am now giving it to you. Please come in. Whoever would like to come in first, please put your hand up and I will start inviting them. Please come in.
I hope I'm audible, sir.
Yes, you are audible.
Myself, Vishal Tiwari.
Yes.
I think there is no, I'm not going to talk about some issues or challenges, but if I see a bigger picture, what I observe in this construction industry is that let's suppose there is 100 engineers. So out of this 100 engineers, only 2-3 have a full life cycle knowledge of the construction industry. Like they know the tendering, they know
That's
how
right.
the contract process, how the legal aspects
That's right.
deals with. And but the 95% of the persons who are engaged
Vishal.
only, the 95% of the persons are those who are engaged in just casting of the slab,
Vishal,
casting of the
Vishal,
beam.
Yeah. Vishal, you can switch off. You can switch off your video. That will give you better bandwidth. Yes, Vishal.
Okay. Is it okay, sir?
Yeah, it is better. Better.
Okay. Let me just recapitulate what I told just now, sir. As I was mentioning here, sir, in our construction industry, there is a kind of inequality. Like we see in the society, there is a huge inequality. In construction industry also there is a huge inequality. If I term it inequality, that means out of the 100 engineers, 2, 3 or 4 engineers are there who have a very good knowledge about the whole life cycle of the project or whole life cycle of the I say the civil engineering or the construction industry. But majority of the masses are those who are engaged only in the casting of the slab, casting of the beams, or like the some minuscule job. If I say I should not just say it in a minuscule job, but if I see the whole picture of the civil engineering, if somebody is engaged in a casting of the slab or the casting of the beam, it doesn't, they're not utilizing their knowledge, they're not utilizing their potential in a full full way there. So what we can do, sir? Like, do we have any kind of roadmap how we can just bridge this gap and they make them also, or rather, how we can uplift them to the level, because they are engaged in such a way they are not giving their full potential to the society.
Vishal, you have raised a very, very pertinent question, and I'm so happy and proud that you have been able to visualize the kind of weakness that our industry suffers from. And you are absolutely right in saying that not more than 2 or 3 engineers are the one who are fully aware about the entire steps of the life cycle. That part is absolutely right. Let me briefly explain to you. What happens when you are not aware of certain things? The first thing that you need to do is to educate yourself, is to basically study. And then simultaneously, a very important thing that you need to do is to ask questions. Now, who do you ask these questions to? Sometimes we have a problem that, okay, I have number of questions and which I want to ask, but whether the person to whom I am addressing this question would be really in a position to answer me that. And in many cases, what happens is because we think that the other person is not in a position to do that, therefore, not to embarrass him, I will not ask the questions. Now, you have to come out of that particular syndrome. That's number one. And that is one of the major reasons why this forum has been created. Because sometimes what happens is that the counseling of an individual is done not only by the parents. The counseling is done by the parents, by the friends, by the teachers, by the peer group when they start working. And ECI, Engineering Council of India, has taken this initiative because this is where basically we can start finding out the answers for many of the questions. Now, specific to your kind of comment, let me tell you, there are broadly 5 types of things that one has to understand to get the whole gamut of things. Number one, you have to know the human management, and you need to know many aspects related to human management. The second issue that you need to know is how to basically minimize the risk. And that is where you have to understand what are the nuances of things like insurance, which majority of our engineers do not really look at. And they think that it is somebody else's business. They need to know the risk alleviation and risk elimination processes. And I gave you an example of the kind of insurance techniques. That is the second thing that you have to know, together with the procurement systems. Now, when I say procurement, I am talking about the tendering, contracting, because the tendering and contracting is always seen, we think it is only the responsibility of lawyers. That is very, very incorrect. If you do not understand it yourself, then the lawyers cannot also be guided. The lawyers know only the procedures. They do not know the gist of it. Along with the procurement, the next thing that comes, and that is a subsection, and that is about the resolution of the kind of disputes that you have. I am talking about conciliation, I am talking about mediation, I am talking about arbitration. So I have told you the 2 things that you need to know. The third thing, which is extremely important, is how to manage and how to basically maximize the life of the equipment that you are using. When I started my career in 70s, at that point in time, not much of construction in India was done utilizing the machines. But now you have plenty of machines that you have to use. Number of projects, because of the shorter time duration, they require specific equipment, and you need to know about that. And you also need to know how your machines are going to be behaving. You need to know about the kind of market intelligence, and that is extremely important. How exactly the stock of the materials is going to go up, how exactly the costing will go up. Those are the kind of things that you have to understand. Now, all that I'm telling you is something beyond engineering. It is not something which in traditional sense is ever being taught in the colleges. This is what you all guys have to start picking up. And that is the responsibility of the experts who are assembled by Engineering Council of India to basically explain to you and to answer your questions and to take you in and basically talk about it. And last but not the least, you have to understand the overall picture of a project. I will give you a kind of glaring example. The country has embarked on a massive highway construction. Now, the largest highway network that was created earlier, and especially around the Second World War and after the Second World War, was in United States. Interstate highways were created, and US, as you know, is driven by automobile industry, and therefore the highways were definitely a requirement, and railways were not as prominent as they used to be in our country. But very soon people realized that the investments that are being made in constructing the highways can only repay the kind of investment that have been made in case we start beneficiating the land which was in the vicinity of the highways. So therefore, there were many enterprises that were also planned and they were set up. Unfortunately, in our country, that is not the kind of thing that we are still thinking about. We are just going and pumping in money, creating the highways without realizing that how exactly are we going to recoup the investment that we have made. This keeps happening every now and then. So an engineer who has to look at the total picture definitely has to start looking into this kind of a aspect also. And that is the kind of, you can say, the overall picture of the project. It is only then you are grooming yourself to be in real sense the key person who is not only conceiving the project, he is also executing it efficiently, he is executing it economically, and then that is something that is building for the welfare of the nation. That is the kind of line that you have to go. So I hope you got my answer. Am I right? And have I been comprehensible? Have you understood what I was talking about?
Yeah, sir, correctly. You mentioned in a very right way. And let me just tell you one more thing. A few of the lectures I just personally saw you in CIDC in 2013 and 14. At that time, I was with the Sobha developers, Sobha International there. So it is always a very your inside views on the construction industry is a very huge, and it's a deep penetrating. Believe me. So
Thank you.
so it is good. So yeah, as you mentioned, sir, we should have some knowledge about the ROI, how the project
Yes.
conceive, and what all element
Yes.
we need to check at the time of planning itself, because many of the
Yes.
project we saw that they are being redundant, and because of that they are not financially they are not viable being. So this aspect we need to understand also, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
We will basically, based on your requirement, and I would like to have the expression of interest from each one of you. And that is a letter that I am writing to all the newly inducted members, that they should come out with their own requirements and they should say that we want to understand this particular aspect. We want to understand this particular aspect and things like that. Now, once I have those things, then we will line up number of, you would say, the kind of knowledge exchange series, and we'll talk to you and we'll get the experts. As a matter of fact, I myself have spent quite some time, but then there are many more very good experts who would be able to throw the light on the things. But so now what I will do is I will go to the next participant, and who do I welcome? Please, there is a this icon of your palm. Please put that on so that I can start inviting people. Let me have the second one. Please come. I have this bad habit. In case you do not volunteer it yourself, then I will call you myself.
Sir, I'm Sardar here. I just want to share my experience because I'm
Yes,
in
please.
also in solar construction. I'm
Yes,
leading two 300 megawatt projects in at Pokhran. Okay, it's in Rajasthan. So you know, solar it's a water cell with respect to the bandwidth of timing and the way we execute. So
Yeah.
each and every time I used to be in this. I'm in this field from last 9 years. I have seen the size of the project from 5 megawatt to now it's in 450 megawatt into two sides. I mean 900 megawatts, which I am currently leading at Rajasthan Pokhran. See, earlier Mr. Vishal was been expressing the way he's in the construction field, how it has been, and the size of the team and the leads and all. What I used to do at site and all, generally for me, I just want to see some succeeders so that I just keep the space. So let me elevate them, then let them come to the. So even when you take in a project, like in the 5 cycles, starting from initiation to handing over, I used to give an opportunity to all the people whom should be interested. Definitely they will come, because in solar field and all, we have seen the people, they have been specifically for particular works, like a size of a 300 megawatt, where we have seen the micro piling is around 1.5 lakhs, which consumes around 20,000 concrete in the span of 3 months. You can't expect so much to be there. At least for the level of that time, we will keep the respective engineers and supervisors and all. But for the entire projects, what we used to do, we have a kind of project management control where we can have a teams, then they will lead and they will support to you for the complete projects with respect to electrical, mechanical, civil, and completely integration and also. This is what we used to do at solar projects, where we have been have a confined time bounded with respect to every you call the way it has been disturbed with respect to environmental, with respect to locals, with respect to maybe. But this is what we have been handling so that I can elevate my teams into next level so that they can lead wherever it be over a period. They would be along with the associate with me, or wherever used to go, they has to be so. Because I have come from the background of L&T and all, seen this. So it is not that only we have a limited resources. Yes, of course, wherever you know the key person who has to, to whom you have to handle, and to whom you have to elevate, and to whom you have to educate. Of course, knowledge sharing is required. That is the key, sir. That's what I have seen in the projects.
Right. Sheikh, I think what you're talking about is very, very correct. And I'm very happy that you have taken many steps which are going to make you into a good project manager. And project manager is not merely a designation. The project manager is a person who manages the project. And that project can be few 100,000 crores, and the project can be even a couple of crores. It doesn't matter. A job, whether it is small or big, but if it is done well, is something which satisfies everyone and makes everyone feel happy. By the way, while you were putting up this solar plant there, did you envisage what are the kind of risks that you are encountering there?
Is it a question to me, sir? Can you repeat once again, please?
It is. The question that I'm asking you is that you told me that you are constructing a plant, a solar plant near Pokhran, which is going to give you the power of about 300 megawatt. Is it not?
Yeah.
That's the project that you have. So what are the kind of inherent risk in constructing this particular project in Pokhran? Tell me.
With respect to, let me start from the land acquisition, sir. That is a major concern. You know all about this, how it is going to be. Sometimes it has been, we've been, purchasing. then sometimes when land lease, that activity only the first activity where we are going to have so much of time. Once it has been awarded, for example, I'm saying once it has been awarded, like you have got a PPA, then your time starts within span of 18 months or 2 years, the max, we have to complete a 300 megawatt. I'm talking about 300 means it's AC side, where it will be a capacity will be a 450, what I am doing now. Okay. So that is the only thing. Second is with respect to environment, where I'm going to execute the project, how this is going to be an opportunity to nearby villages, what are the impact with respect to the resources which I'm going to with respect to construction materials, with respect to machineries, with respect to manpowers. That is the one of the concern that we have seen that generally what we used to do, yes, we will make some risk mitigation plans, risk assessment will be there. So where from I'm going to get the materials, how we are going to execute, this is a part of a planning. That's what I've said in the cycle there. This is what I've seen so far. Of course, we have a local issues anyway, that ROW issues are, but then that is a part of the project. We are handling it. So.
Right. Now suppose you have constructed this plant successfully, and after that you are gone, and then there is someone else also who comes and wants to set up a plant there. And not only solar plant, you have the solar plant, so therefore you are generating power, and somebody can come there and basically start looking at the kind of local industry to be set up there and things like that. So did you archive, did you note down what are the kind of risk factors that you encountered in the area so that you can leave behind for the sake of posterity?
Okay, you mean as what are the, how I am giving the feedback, or like a kind of what is my learnings which I have been shared with my team.
That's right.
That's what I'm asking, no? That's what I'm trying to convey. Because see, I have been in this the Pokhran, as I said, from 2013 onwards. I'm in this place, sir. So I know a bit idea about how it is going to be carried forward, because I have executed around 5 projects in this area.
Sheikh, you are not getting my question. My question is that you have been in Pokhran, you have understood the locale, you have understood the kind of climatic conditions that you have there, you know the challenges that are there. What are you going to be leaving for the sake of posterity? You must understand that right in our own family, when we live within our own family, is it not that our grandparents and our parents and sometimes even the great grandparents, if they are around, they will narrate you the stories that your such and such was such and such, and these are the kind of learning or experiences that he had, and these were the kind of things that he did to ward them off. So you have to understand that as a professional engineer, you have to leave it behind for your children also. And who are your children? Your children are the younger lot who is going to be coming in future. So tomorrow, if they have to go and work in Pokhran, they will say that, yes, I remember here was this great old man called Sardar Sheikh, who has written this particular treatise, and I can go through the whole thing and basically understand how to work in Pokhran. You get my point?
Yeah, understood.
Let me tell you something very interesting. As a matter of fact, engineering has a lot of history, which majority of our people have not been, I would say, familiar with, because we have never tried to make engineering education as interesting as it is actually. Let me tell you, there are many things that were done in my country, in your country, which make us proud. And let me also give you a few examples. I gave you one example of irrigation engineering. I give you another example of conducting the land surveys. You know, before the British came, nobody really had an idea as to what are the boundaries of our country. Nobody had a clear idea. The boundaries used to be very flexible. People used to be just moving about. And as you know, on our Western front, the boundaries used to travel right up to Afghanistan and into Iran. And then in the Eastern side, they used to travel right up to Burma. Probably that was the time when monarchies used to be there, and therefore they used to acquire the land masses, and that's how it was. But then it was the British who came there, and they set up a very interesting organization, which still exists today and does good work. And that is basically the Survey of India. And that was the department that was set up, who just went around in all parts, all geographical parts of the country, and very few people they had. They conducted the survey, and the survey told you that how exactly is the geographical terrain, where you have the Rocky Mountains, where you have the rivers, where you have the fertile valleys, how much you can grow there in terms of the agricultural produce, and many things.
Yeah.
And these were the things that were documented, recorded, and left behind. And that is something that becomes the first treatise for all of us. You get
Yeah, I
my
agree.
point? So even in the ancient kingdoms and ancient days also, people used to write the treatises and leave it behind for the sake of posterity. You have number of stories which the courts of the kings, they used to be recording it, and very, very meticulously recording and leaving behind. You can still find out what were the land reforms that were done by Akbar the Great. You can still see how exactly the agricultural wealth was basically made assessment of, and who used to do that. It was basically our own ancestors. And who were our ancestors? Our ancestors used to be civil engineers. You understand? This all required a lot
Yeah,
of technology. So we are part of a very, very proud, and when I say civil engineer, it does not mean civil engineer in today's parlance. There were two branches of engineering. This also history tells us. One which dealt with the garrison, and they were known as garrison engineers. They used to be fighting with the armies. And then the other sector, that was engineers who were working in civilian fronts, and they were known as civil engineers. And civil engineers had to know everything about engineering. That is how it was. Later on, the branches started getting branched out and things like that. So also read a lot of history of the family that we all belong. You understand? It is our ancestors who have written these historical facts, and let us also try to follow in their footsteps.
Sure, sir.
Right, Sheikh?
Sure, sir. Thank you for us.
Good job. Good job. Good job. So we take the third one. Let me have the third one. Who will come? Who will be the next one? As I told you, now I will start calling people. So rather you should volunteer. All right.
Sir, I am Meenakshi Tyagi.
Yes, Meenakshi, come in. I needed a lady engineer in the mass. Very good. Very nice to hear. Yes, Meenakshi, tell me.
Sir, I come from the urban and regional town planning profession.
Yes.
My basic is from architecture, and that's why I belong to civil engineering and construction industry somehow.
Good, Meenakshi.
Okay, first of all, let me raise some issues which I face because I have been taking care of many of the planning projects. And
yes,
mentioned by Sheikh that it should be the planning which should come first. And the questions that you were asking him, whether it is financially viable, whether it is technically feasible or not,
yes,
have to be taken care of while we are planning the project. So during the planning stage. But now my problem comes, or what I have faced while working, is that most of the time the client,
sure,
who is usually a government agency, they dictate what has to be done.
Yes.
Instead of going for the most technical solution, most financially viable solution, most environmentally, social,
Right.
economically best
Right.
solution,
Right.
they dictate the solution. They say this has to be done, do this. Now that is the problem, and I don't know what has to be done. We just agree. Since we are on the consultant side and the government is on the client side, So
Okay.
it's said that client is
Uh,
God. So that is one issue.
Yeah.
And, another, I
Yeah.
have
See, now this is a very,
suggestion.
yeah, I got your question.
I have a suggestion for the previous question, previous discussions. Let me say.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
form forums, discussion
Yeah.
forums,
Yeah.
WhatsApp groups, wherein the problems, day-to-day problems can be raised, and somebody who knows the answer can give the solution on that WhatsApp group or the discussion.
Mhm.
Secondly, like we are discussing now, such forums can be helpful for giving.
That's it. Yeah.
Like you said that you were telling Sheikh that we should tell our generations what problems we are facing and how to resolve. So groups and forums can be helpful. We, of course, this is a nice idea that we have monthly, bi-monthly discussions. But if we have some WhatsApp group or something, then it can be a day-to-day.
Good.
Okay,
This is very, yeah, thank you. This is very doable, and I think we are moving toward that. But until then, what we are doing is that all the discussions that we are making now and even in past also, we are recording and putting it on our website. And this is meant for those who are not able to really participate physically, but they can have a look at that. So that is, of course, something which is a welcome suggestion, and I will certainly ask our ECI Secretariat to take care of that. Now, coming back to your question, and rather dilemma as to how you are going to go about telling the government fellow who is your client that what you are talking is not really very correct. That is a kind of a very ticklish issue. And this is not an issue which basically is confronted by you, but also in many cases, people who are sitting in process-driven organizations. And government is a process-driven organization, which means that a singular person cannot take the decision. It is always a set of people who will have to come to some kind of a decision, and then only this can be done. And when you have 20 cooks making the broth, then any one of them can basically put a bit of a stick in the whole thing. And things really do not move the way they are ideally expected to. So to basically ward off that, the only thing is that we have to work out a kind of a solution which is going to be technically so sound that nobody is in a position to say that it is not something which I am going to follow. Because what happens is that even in case of any professional, let us take medical professional, the doctor will tell, he is very candid and open about it, and he says that since you are the attendant of the patient, please take care of him. And these are my recommendations. If you want to follow it, follow them. If you don't want to follow, it is up to you to basically get into the periphery. So I think that is some kind of a method that we have to devise. I have done it number of times in my life. And believe you me, never ever the person who was supposed to be taking a decision, they grumbled, they complained, they said you are very headstrong and everything was there. But then they had to follow my suggestion and advice only. The reason was that I was quite confident. And I told them in no uncertain terms. One of the things that unfortunately our technical experts do is to not to be confident about certain things, because they themselves are very much worried about several things, and they may not be directly connected with the kind of technical expertise. They may be thinking that if we speak like that, probably the client is not going to give us the next job. Probably he is going to take it as an exception. Probably he or she is going to be telling our higher up in our own organization that this fellow is very, very tough and he doesn't listen. Probably he too has certain problems. So I think this is a situation that we have to handle on case-to-case basis. And what I can assure you is that if you can write down the problem that you have, and the kind of bottlenecks that you are facing, we can definitely devise methods to come out of that. And that is going to be a counseling coming to you from an elder person to a younger person. That is the way it has to go. But there cannot be a very, very set rule or set pattern. There always has to be some kind of flexibility, and it has to be on case-to-case basis. I know what I'm telling you is that everybody in this world must follow the law. They must be very strictly adhering to the kind of things. They must respect the scientific principles. But unfortunately, in this world is not very perfect. And the kind of people that we have there, at times, they have a tendency, because of several reasons they may be having, and they may be right or wrong, whatever, but then they have a habit of basically taking certain decisions, which may not be absolutely right. And we can see it happening almost on daily basis. So that is where a professional will have to basically guard off. My own feeling is that this is a very major issue, and please make a suggestion where we can take this up as I'm on this. We will have some more senior people coming there narrating their experiences as to how they warded off the kind of problems that they were facing. So I hope you got my answer.
Yeah, yes.
Sir,
Yeah.
to add on
So-
this,
Answer is
shall I
very-
give my difference, sir? Views?
Can you let Meenakshi complete her things, and then I will listen to you. Meenakshi, please go on.
So your answer is very perfect. I think that's the way we can resolve such things from time to time and from case to case basis. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
I will tell you this very interesting story about a king who was sitting in his court, and then he had this case that came to him, and being the king, he was supposed to be the judge. And the two fellows were contesting and fighting, and they came there and they said that, look here, this fellow was supposed to be giving me services, and the services were delivered, but I was not paid. I was not given my dues. So the king asked him, he said that, okay, tell me something. Did you renegade on the kind of agreement that you had made with this gentleman? He said, sir, I have not renegaded. But the only problem is that when I entered into that particular contract with him, I asked him, how much do I pay you for your service? And he said that, don't worry about the payment, make me happy, and that is going to be my payment. And now, when the job is finished, that is right, that he has completed the job with great efficiency, and I'm very happy with the performance. So when I go to him and I say that, okay, now tell me how much money. So he keeps repeating that, make me feel happy. So I gave him 100 rupees, which is almost like double the amount of money I might have paid it to somebody. He said that I'm not happy. Then I gave him 150 rupees. He doesn't listen. So it went on, and finally I got so fed up, I said, okay, I'm not going to pay you a single time. That is how he has brought me to your court. So the king said, okay, what we will do, that you will have to make him happy. You have to fulfill the deal, and come tomorrow, I will give you the solution. So the fellow went there, and then while he was just leaving the palace, he was invited by the minister. He said, the king wants to talk to you separately. So he came there, spoke to the king, and king told him something, and he went off. The next day, the hearing took place again. Both of them came, and the fellow said, okay, sir, I'm here. So the king said, are you ready to make him happy? He said, yes, sir, I am. He said, the king has been blessed. Are you to say, yes, I am happy? He said, well, That's about it. I made you happy. That for such kind of situations, at times you have to be using your quick wit also.
Sir, your voice is cracking.
And that is the kind of thing that we'll be discussing about. My answer?
Sir, your voice is cracking a lot.
Yeah. So Meenakshi, you got my answer?
Sir, the last part, which was the exact answer, I was unable to listen to it properly because the voice was cracking a lot. So
Okay.
if you can repeat the last, the key aspect. I mean, when the king called him,
yeah,
the time when the king called him for a discussion, after that I was unable to understand because the voice was cracking. The voice was breaking.
Okay. I called him and told him something. Both of them, they landed in the court once again. And the king asked this gentleman, he said that, are you ready to make him happy? Are you ready to fulfill your deal? And he said, yes, sir. He said, go ahead. And this fellow said that king has been blessed with a son. Are you happy or not? And the other fellow had no choice but to say, yes, he's happy. And the deal was fulfilled. So what I meant to tell you was that at times you have to use quick wit also.
True. Agreed.
Right. So the deliberations are also going to be interesting and funny, like we discussed in the family. And those are the kind of stories that I will be narrating. Let me have the next and the last question. And after that, I would request all of you to send emails and send your comments to ECI officer concerned. So let me have the last question.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Majumdar.
Yes, I am an 86 years old man. But anyway,
yes, sir.
Almost 50 years I have been in teaching from IIT to NIT, and in Delhi Technology University, I have been a professor for 25 years. 23 years as a professor, and actually my area of specialization is hydraulics and flood control. So after my retirement, I was invited by a leading Indian consultant, ICT Private Limited, and they appointed me as the general manager of hydrology and drainage. So I actually enjoyed because first 5 years I was in the role of general manager, and then they have a rule that after you become 65, you cannot be on the role, or they cannot make me as team leader. So they appointed me an advisor, and subsequently so many companies were asking me that why not you come to us and you solve it. So I enjoy these works, because really what I have been saying that, our construction area is very developed. That is my experience, because we are doing marvelous construction nowadays, tunneling. I'm a civil engineer. So, and in fact, I belong to that engineering college you mentioned that is called now IIEST Shibpur. Now, earlier it was Bengal Engineering College Shibpur, just 1 year junior to the Thompson College of Roorkee. So, I have been observing that our students these days, who are the budding engineers, they are mostly occupied with only the software part. But my query is that my feeling is this, that we have to understand the basics, because any software, because nowadays software helps you in reducing the time, because consultants have to use software for reducing the time of, say, एक culverts का hydraulics का पहले जो manually करते थे, it may take 1 day per culvert. Now per day you may do or even 12 a dozen culverts, because we have
Sir.
culvert master and things like that. But you know, my young colleagues used to, they're very good in computer, but they were to suffer in dilemma. They said, what are these data? Because if you do not have the inputs correctly, you will get the results also wrong. So this is my one observation. So, you know, when I asked some of my colleagues, I have retired in 2000, so that, you know, how the college is running now. He categorically says, sir, at your time, the students' quality, they were very mindful and they were learning very in attitude like that. But now it has changed, particularly the last 2 years, you know, when everything is on virtual mode. So I feel pain because I blame him that, look, teacher's role is that they call it that 1% inspiration and 99% is perspiration. So if you people cannot inspire the students, then it is your failure. So teachers' attitude is also like that. Particularly now, so many coaching institutes have come and they are, actually, I don't know whether they are socially significant or useful. But you know, students by and large, they are now unmindful of learning the basics of the things. And I know many engineers, even though didn't know the computer or the softwares like that, the developments, they have been doing a wonderful job, you know. That is because of the devotion to the subject and your profession, which I find in the foreign. I am still consultant in some like a very Italian company. So I hear their, because their talks are is an Italian company, but you know how precise they are, because you know every small things they examine before us. In fact, I have heard that any project they spend 90% time, maybe more, in investigation, and maybe 10-15% in construction. Their construction is automated and very rapidly they do, but investigation is very, very important. Recently, I was invited by Guwahati IIT to give a talk, 15 minutes, I think 20 minutes I talked on two barrages. One is Kosi barrage and another is Farakka barrage. So my talk was this, that you know Kosi barrage, which was made in 1961, and Farakka barrage was in 1970 or something like that. So, you know, there was a proposal during the British period that we should build a dam at Barakkshetra and maybe a barrage downstream. That is the usual way, because barrages are for diversion of flow and dams are for storage. So at that Barakkshetra, the hill journey of the river ends, and then it enters into floodplain in India, particularly in Bihar state. It was devastating Bihar. Bihar is such a wonderful, you know, they have got a lot of prosperity and agriculture, but only thing that Kosi river of sorrow, you know, because almost every year alternately they used to flood some 10, 15. So they built a barrage at Bhimnagar, one side Bhimnagar, another side in Nepal. So the problem has been that, you know, after the mountainous journey of a river, its sediment carrying capacity decreases like anything because of the flat slope. There are many other parameters of the sediment size. I don't want to go to the research aspect. So, you know, it has started depositing huge quantity of sediments and formed a delta. So river course is not defined. So sometimes it go left, sometimes middle, sometimes. So it has formed really a delta between Barakkshetra, that is the end of the, and this place, you know, your present dam. So in fact, that has caused the instability of the river, both upstream as well as downstream. I will tell you.
Sir, I am being impertinent to stop
Okay.
you there. I think
I must stop here. What I want to conclude is that you know, we engineers are not only we have to be technocrats also, but you know, our engineers' role is not merely technology. We must investigate. Every failure requires a proper record and find the cause. That is knowledge. And you know, I am telling you, Mr. Forgetting Mr. Saru, I am member of around 7-8 societies in India, and I have about 215 technical papers. I have contributed foreign countries, foreign journals also.
So,
So, you know, our engineers must update themselves. You
sir,
know, these
sir,
young engineers should be mentored
I
professionals.
have picked up,
Sir,
I
thank you for providing me the.
thank you so much. And you were narrating the experiences that you have had, and you have only a singular question. And the question is that why exactly our young engineers are not basically the ones who are really going and trying to understand the thing. And I think this particular exercise is also aimed at that. You have heard number of young engineers who are ready to come with the kind of problems, and it is for elders like us to keep on solving that. But meanwhile, there is a small task that I would like to ask of you also, and I'll be very grateful for that. Please write down your experiences, and please send the experiences which we'll share with the younger lot so that they can understand that what are the kind of things they might encounter. This is something which I spoke about, archiving your experiences. You know, after all, at your age, when you are close to about 15, 16 years senior to me, I can assure you, and having come from one of the finest engineering colleges, you must have had tremendous experience. And this experience has to be put for the benefit of the younger generation so that they can get inspired, and they also start looking at a situation where they say that, yes, I want to be with Professor Majumdar, and I want to be like Professor Majumdar.
Mr. Swarup,
So,
last thing, you know, chairman of my session was an Englishman. At the end, he was a young professor.
Sir,
He told me that you have solved the problem, but what is the solution?
I have already submitted to you that please write down your life experiences and send them to me.
Okay.
And I can give you this commitment. It will be widely circulated, and I think number of young engineers will definitely benefit.
Okay.
But let us be very concise, and let us also be a bit humorous. You know, there is one more thing that I have to tell you, that our teachers in the colleges, and I consider myself to be a type of teacher only, they have forgotten as to how to make the whole thing very interesting and palatable to the young people. And that is the reason why majority of the young people, they take it as a matter of routine, and they keep on doing the kind of things. So thank you very much, sir, for being with us today and sharing your life experiences. And I'm very sure that the young people are going to take a cue from this, plenty of cues, and that's fantastic. May you have a very long life, and may you continue guiding the younger lot for that matter. That is what I pray and I wish. And thank you so much. So once again, I am repeating my request to all of you. Please send your problems. Please start archiving. Please start looking at in a holistic manner. It doesn't matter really whether you are an architect or you are an engineer or you are basically a project person. You are a professional, and that is something that we have to live by. Thank you so much. God bless you, and Jai Hind. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.